Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our textbook is Weekend 3, and today, inshallah, we will cover Unit 9. My School is Cool, Reading and Writing on page 71. This lesson will be presented by me, Teacher Mazen Harbi, and the sign language by Mr. Salih Al-Ajan. So let's begin. Quick revision in our last lesson. In our last lesson, we had listened to an interesting chant that is called Rana Had a Little Lamb, where in this chant we did listen, we did say, and also we did point to the words or to the sentences that have verbs in the past. So let's try to make another revision for this chant. Let's listen to it and also let's read it also together, and then we can highlight all of the verbs that were in the past. So, reading and writing, listen and read. So, let's begin now by listening to this chant. Rana had a little lamb. Rana had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. Everywhere that Rana went, the lamb was sure to go. So, now we're going to read it, but this time I'm going to point and I would like you to follow with me while I'm reading. Rana had a little lamb. Rana had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. Everywhere that Rana went, the lamb was sure to go. So in this lamb, we said that it talks about a lamb that likes Rana. And this lamb follow Rana wherever she went. And also, the lamb was sure to go when he sees Rana go to different places. Now let's listen and read the second part of this chant. Rana had a little lamb. It followed her to school one day, which was against the rules. It followed her to school one day, which was against the rules. So one day that lamb followed Rana. And when Rana goes to school, that lamb followed her, and it was against the rules for this school. Now let's continue for the third part and see what happened to Rana and this lamb. It made the children laugh and play to see a lamb at school. It made the children laugh and play to see a lamb at school. So here, what is the reaction for this lamb? When this lamb goes to school, made the children laugh and play. So the children did enjoy having the lamb over there and to see a lamb at school. Now, let's go back to the beginning of this chant and try to highlight what are the verbs that we have in the past. So here, I would like you to have a look at the first part here and tell me how many of the past verbs that we can see here. So here, if we have a look, we can see that the first verb in the past is had, and the second one is was, and then we have went, and then we have also was. So in the first part, we do have 4 verbs in bold that were actually in the past tense. Now let's see the second part and see how many of the verbs we have in the past tense. So here in the second part we have followed in the past, and also we have was. So here we have 2 words, followed and was. And finally, in the last part, we have the verb made, which is also in the past. So now we have more than 7 verbs that were actually written in the past. And why it is important to highlight the verbs in the past? Because last time we said that you need to practice this chant together. First, to practice this chant with either your classmates or your family members, and because it's a funny story, and also it is something that about an animal which we all like. And also try to change the verb tense and chant it. So how we can rewrite this chant to write it again? We can do this by changing the tense of these verbs. So the 7 verbs that we talked about are had, was, went, was again, followed, was, and made. So all of these are the verbs, the 7 verbs in the past that we use. So what we need to do here is to try again to change all of these verbs in the past to verbs in the present. So let's read the verbs in the present here below. So instead of using had, we can say has. And instead of using was, we can say is. And instead of using went, we can say goes. The same also go for was. And instead of saying followed, we can say follows. And instead of saying made, we can say makes. So why is this important? Because it will help us to know and to change this chant and also to make it more interesting. So are you excited to see how this chant is after we changed all of these verbs? Now let's read it again, but this time with changing these verbs. So here we will have the chant, the same chant, but with verbs, as you can see, with verbs in the present, not in the past. So I'm going to read it and I would like you to listen and also to follow with me. So the first part, Rana has a little lamp. Its fleece is white as snow. Everywhere that Rana goes, the lamp is sure to go. So here we changed had to has, and also we changed was to is, and we changed the verb went to goes, and finally we changed was to is. Let's continue the second part and see also the other changes. It follows her to school one day, which is against the rules. So here we changed it followed to it follows her, and also we changed which was to or which was to which is. So also we have one remaining verb that we need to change with this chant. So let's read this verb. It makes the children laugh and play to see a lamp at school. So here we changed the verb made to make it makes. So here instead of saying it made, we said it makes. So this is about our chant, and we said that it's not only important to chant it and also to practice it, but also it is very important that we try to change the verbs, the verb tense. Why? It will help us to know how to rewrite a sentence in its structure, and also it will help us to have a new exciting chant. Now, let us move on to our lesson for today, or our objectives for today's lesson. We hope that at the end of this lesson you will be able to rewrite the verbs and also to read and chant Rana had a little lamp in the present, not the past. So here I would like you to open your books on page 71. I would like you please to open your books on page 71. Now on page 71, what we're going to do is that we're going to listen, match, and present. So here we need to copy the rules, and sometimes we can add pictures, and even we can make posters. So here, as you can see, here we have instructions that, or we call it rules for our English class. And what we need to do with these rules is we need to match them together. So we will have one set of rules. So now all we have to do is to listen, and after we listen, we're going to match all of these verbs to the other sentence or the rest of the sentence to make one complete rule. So for example, the first rule we have here is don't shout. Don't shout, speak clearly. Don't shout, speak clearly. So this is one of the rules that we should pay attention to. Now we will do the same. I'm going to say the full rule, and what I would like you to do is to, when you listen to for the first part, to try to match it with the other parts. So if I said, for example, don't shout, speak clearly, then you have to do is to draw a line from here up to here. Now I'm going to read the second one, or the second rule, and here I would like you to pay attention to it and also to match it. The second rule we have is listen. Listen to the teacher. Listen to the teacher. So here, where we should match the word listen, which with any of these clauses. Very well, this is where we should match the word listen, or the verb listen. Listen to the teacher. It is always important that you listen to the teacher for all the rules that he or she give inside the class. Now the third one, or the third rule, is stand up. Stand up when you're present. Stand up when you're present. Very good. So here, the third rule we have is stand up when you present. Sometimes if you want to show your class or your classmates, or if you want to show your teacher something, it is important that you stand up from your chair and you present the ideas, maybe the presentation you have, or anything you would like to present to the teacher. So, three important rules that we need to have in our English class. The first one is don't shout, speak clearly. Just speak clearly. It's disrespectful if we shouted at the teacher or even at our classmates. And even to listen to the teacher. It is important that you listen to the teacher for all the information and rules he or she has to give, and also to stand up when you present. It's very important if you want to present something to stand up. Now let's get to know three more rules. So the other rule we have is ask. Ask for help when you have a problem. Ask for help when you have a problem. So here, this is our second rule, which is ask for help when you have a problem. So where we should match ask, we should match it with the first one. Ask for help when you have a problem. And this is the fourth rule we have. Now let's listen to the fifth one. The fifth one, or the fifth rule we have is don't forget. Don't forget to do your homework. Don't forget to do your homework. And this is also another important rule, which is don't forget to do your homework. It's very important, of course, to keep all our homeworks and to do them day by day. And then we have the other rule, which is use. Use your CD when you study English. Use your CD when you study English. So here we said three important rules. The first one is ask for help when you have a problem. It's very important that you show up your hand and to tell the teacher about, and to ask a teacher for help If you have any problem, it's very important. And also to not forgetting to do your homework. This is very important when you study, and then you go home and you do all of your homework from school. And also to use your CD when you study English. When you study your English, it's important that you listen to the audio, sometimes to the videos from your English book. And next we have don't make. Don't make too much noise when you play games. Don't make too much noise when you play games. And finally is speak English in class. Speak English in class. And here two important rules, which is the first one is don't make too much noise when you play different games. It's very important that you be quiet. And also the other important rule, which is to speak English in class. This is how we learn. This is how we practice our English. So here we have all of these 8 rules for our English class. Keep them in mind always because they are important to have in mind when we enter our English class. To speak English, to never forgetting our homework, and also to listen to the teacher and ask for help if we want to. Now, at the end of this lesson, it's important that you read the Rana had a little lamb, try to write it in the present, and also present it with pictures if you like, and also to read and write our English class rules, and you can make posters with pictures and present it to the teacher. So now we have reached the end of our lesson. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.